13 years ago, I met this amazing woman at a climate communications conference. We just instantly sat right down on the ground and started talking and have been talking and having amazing conversations ever since. She's had a profound effect on my life. Sally Bolger worked in electric vehicles long before everybody thought about electric vehicles. She led the restoration of a major ecological project in Northern California, and she's now the executive director of the Ecological Workforce Initiative. And when I decided recently that I really wanted to have conversations about this idea of savoring the world, she was the first person I thought of to talk to. And we just had a lovely conversation. We normally go for about 6 hours, but we tried to keep it tight, a good deal tighter than that. She's such a bright light, and it's a delight for me to share her insights with you. I really hope you enjoy it. So, Sally, what I want to start with is many of us who do mission-driven work are
Mhm.
motivated by some very real, very deep love of the world. If you think about when that spark, it lives in you, it breathes in you, you embody it. But if you think about when that spark was really first lit, what comes to mind?
Oh my gosh. I think the glory is that it had always been there. It was always there, and then it came to my awareness. Right. And so now to be in relationship with it, to be able to feed it and be warmed by it. But that awareness really came from when I was gifted by being able to be involved in a big wetlands restoration project on the coast of California, called the Jackamini Wetlands Project. And never in my life did I think that I would be able to directly impact the health and resilience of the planet in that way. And then building relationship with those beautiful waters and that beautiful land over the course of the project. That that's what really sparked my awareness
Mm.
of the love, the vitality and the reality of that love and the relationship that's possible there with land.
So the work itself,
Hmm.
the awareness of the love, like
Yeah.
it was the grounding.
Hmm.
Engagement is what made you see it.
Yes, absolutely.
What made you
Absolutely.
get engaged in the first place then?
When I look back, you don't see the path in front of you at all. But when you turn around, you sort of see the luminous footprints behind you. And so when I look back, I realized that, from the time I was a child, there was this deep connection. Um, and the hours spent, on the land or with a tree or whatever. But also my career, I started out in electric vehicles, for goodness sakes, and then moved
Did you say
into,
when that was?
oh gosh, those were, if anybody has seen the Who Killed the Electric Car, it was the Who Killed the Electric Car years, sort of the late 70s, early 80s into, sort of the mid to late 90s, fighting the good fight against big oil, big car manufacturers, all of that. So started out in electric vehicles, and then I I was deeply connected to Point Reyes in California. That was where I spent every weekend. I was living in San Francisco at the time, and when that business ended, I wanted to give back to the place that I loved. And so that then I got on the board of a nonprofit that supports that land. And from there, then ended up in the executive director chair, managing that wetlands restoration project. So I would never have seen any of that coming. It's just only when I look back and see those luminous footprints.
Wow. Yeah. I love the observation that, about the looking back and seeing it, but also when one door closed with the electric vehicles, your impulse was to give back, and that was what brought the awareness of the love
Yeah,
really to the fore.
absolutely.
Let's do a harsh pivot to the present. Um, Obviously, an extremely challenging moment on so many levels. I wonder what this moment is like for you and what specifically all of these crises and setbacks and all of that does to your love of the world, if anything.
What this moment is an opportunity to love more and love deeper, to kind of to just step up and say what needs to be said and be as loving as possible and as humble as possible and as vulnerable as possible and call it into the space of, well, for me, again, in these years since that wetlands project and all that had been gifted to me and all the different experiences that I've had, the lived experience of Earth as a living, breathing, sentient being, and to be in relationship with her and to offer her love and witnessing and honoring and offering anything that I can do to speak love into the space. Love
Mm.
is the most, is creation. Love is creation. And it is the most powerful force in the universe. And so to speak love or from a loving place in every opportunity that I have is what this moment and these crises mean to me.
Um, this, I don't know what your experience is of this, but I, as former journalists, have a bit of a news addiction.
Mhm.
And so I have repeatedly been pulled in by headlines and gotten spun out again and again. Has that happened to you? And if so, how do you find your way back to this amazing place you're describing?
A big fat yes. Does it happen to me? Absolutely. Constantly. And it's in the ether.
Hmm.
And again, like in even just trying to walk through the world from a calm and loving place, everyone is sensing it wherever in whatever way they're experiencing it or not experiencing it's in the ether, and so it's around, and then paying attention to the news and the grief and the pain and the being witness to what has been the underbelly always. And it is really honoring the grief, witnessing it, being present to it, and not trying to necessarily do anything about it, because that's where I get stuck. So when I get caught in the I got to do something, and what I can do is come back and I can find my heart again, and I can sing praise to the day, and I can walk out the door and take one grateful breath. And it's about resilience, right? It's about um, somehow finding your way back through that one breath, through that one expression of awe or gratitude or that moment of savoring, and coming back. And then you can find your resilience to be able to move from that place.
Hmm.
Because I won't, it's being, that's what resilience is. Even in the world of ecological restoration, we're restoring resilience to ecosystems, resilience to land, resilience to humans, so that we can recover from disturbance. And so that's, coming back here, and then coming back here again, and then coming back here,
Beautiful.
because it's disturbance multiple times a day,
Hmm. Right.
right?
Yeah, I love the pause that you breathe into that answer, right?
Mm.
There's the incredibly famous Viktor Frankl
Mm.
quote about between
Mhm.
stimulus and response. There's a pause, and you just did that. It's like saying when you get stuck is when you jump too quickly to the do.
Mm.
If you take one grateful breath, if you re-ground yourself, then the doing can follow and have a different quality to it, right?
Mhm.
Can you describe what the different quality is?
That I'm not alone.
Mm,
In that moment, we're so individualistic, and we think, that we've got, individually got to do something.
Mm,
Um, and in that pause, in that breath, and what is breath but inspiration, spirit can come in,
mhm,
connection can come in, and you're not alone.
mhm.
And then you can move from that place. Um,
Beautiful. So, as you know, I've been exploring this idea of savoring the world and, like as a counterpoint, right, to the weight of saving the world and trying to instead deliberately cultivate the other as a way to strengthen our capacity to keep doing the work that we do.
right.
Um, can you say what comes to mind when you think about that?
When I think about savoring,
Mm.
well, you were there. I mean, when you read to me the the introduction, the title and introduction, um, and I was just the articulation of what I knew to be true, that your articulation of it just completely came in and just I was literally vibrating with the truth of it. And that, that that we're not here to save the world. Our job is not to save the world. Our job is to love her. And we come to that love by savoring, by being present, by witnessing, by seeing her in her glory and her devastation. Um, and we come to love through attention. We come to love through savoring.
So one of to drop down a level, one of the things that I'm exploring is that I think what it does is that it helps, if the idea is this helps with our capacity to,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
In what way? And
Hmm.
what seems true to me is that it helps with getting a bit more clear, right? Getting grounded and
Right.
reconnecting with agency.
Yep.
If that feels true to you, can you think about a time that would illustrate that? Or is your experience of it something else? Are there places where it's like, yeah, sounds good, but maybe not?
There's never any existence of
Mm,
experience of that at all. No, if I it may take me longer to get there when I'm particularly spun or frustrated or overwhelmed. Um, but when I finally remember to, you know, for me, go outside and to notice, to just take a moment, even a moment, then gives me that again, it brings the frenetic, it settles the frenetic and it brings me back here. And so I can go, I can access the capacity I already have.
So I want to just touch in a little bit more on, we know how incredibly difficult this time is for so many
Mhm.
people.
Oh, you bet.
Um, and in a time like that, it's really easy for the mind to go, oh yeah, but oh gosh,
Hmm.
what Pollyanna stuff
You
this
bet.
is. If somebody says that to you, or if that voice rises up in you, how do you engage that? I mean,
And believe me, it happens. um, and I don't mean that this is not, I'm not saying don't go and do everything you possibly can do. Don't be out on the streets. Don't
mm,
make any change that you can. Don't speak for truth and justice in any way that you can, but have it come from this place.
mhm,
Have it come from this place. Um, and so when people do sort of push back and, oh, how cute. Um, I'll just admit, my response in my heart is, I am so sorry for them
mm.
that they have convinced themselves of that. What a lonely, lonely place to be. And then but from that place of tenderness inside myself, um, I remember saying to someone, a good friend who has just gotten completely caught and was making fun
Mhm.
of me, et cetera, et cetera. It was just simply, I just said, all I know that is if I'm not doing these things, nothing will change.
You know, I just want to say that, because I can imagine somebody hearing what you just said, and um, especially the part about feeling sorry, that it's a sad, lonely place, right? But it's also a very common place because
Oh,
of the
yeah.
culture we live in, right?
Mhm.
I go there. I think about the savoring stuff all the time now, but I go there. I'm like, is this really naive, right? And
Mhm.
it's this ongoing engagement, right? With a
Mhm.
kind of push-pull. Do you
Mhm.
experience that too, or do you feel like you've really gotten on the other side? I think I know the
Well,
answer.
I mean, and what happens is you're always tested at the next limit. You're always tested
Uh,
at the next limit. So I hesitate because I know other testing is coming.
mm-hmm,
But and I think this is a really important word, faith.
hmm
Faith in something bigger than me,
hmm
faith in the unknown, faith in the infinite possibilities that are out there. Just because we've experienced something in the past doesn't define that it's going to happen in the future.
You're, such a dear friend and have been for many years now, which I'm so grateful for. And I am so grateful to be able to share this part of you in a little way with other people. So, Sally
Well,
Bolger, thank you so much.
am beyond touched. And I think of those luminous footprints when I look back to that climate conference that we met at
Mhm.
in 2013, and the glory of that moment and how it's led us both to understand ourselves and the world so much more deeply.
Yeah, thank you so much.